Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Whenever you're watching, it is the Bet Online Salute to Troy podcast. And we got the full cast here today to talk about this USC Arizona game at the Coliseum on Family Weekend. We'll go around the horn and say hello to everyone. We'll start with the queen of LAFB, Miss Candace Davis Price. How are you doing today?
Fantastic. feeling very fallish, but I sent you guys a picture of my gas prices, which was $3.18. So
and complaining about it. She was complaining about $3.18 gas.
No, I wanted to share. I was like, so things are good.
You know that meme of that like girl that gets all like the hot dogs hit her in the face? I felt like that was that. Like you setting that price was just me just getting blasted with hot dogs.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, gas out here. Gas by my house is $5.49.
That I get here that you get
absolutely
the same gas.
Oh yes, yes, no question about it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, gas is $5.49 by my house.
It's cheap by you. It's
$7 by me. Yeah. You know, it's crazy.
Does that hurt your soul?
It's like, more than double. I mean, it's very painful to my soul is already. It's beyond hurt. I mean, it's a point of no return for my soul.
And Jamal, you have to use 91, right?
To be hurt, you know. It's
Jamal, you have to use 91, right?
91. Yep.
Yeah,
ooh, so even worse. Ooh.
Yeah. When I had a Mercedes, I had to use 91.
Time, you know how when they pour the 40s out for their homies in South Central, I'm gonna fill out for my homies.
There you go.
Yeah, thank you.
So stop complaining about your 318.
I'm not. No complaints.
And the mad scientist, the madman, Jamal Maggie. How you doing today?
Doing well, Fred. You know, we're gonna really sort of enjoy today, but I'll say I didn't think the highlight of the night was going to be Will Ferrell DJing the fraternity party before the game actually started. I didn't know that would be the highlight of the weekend, but here we are.
And we have the CEO, the founder of LAFB, the man, the myth, the legend, Ryan Dyrud. How are you doing coming back from your camping trip?
What's up? Good. Yeah, a little not even 24 hours out in Malibu on the beach. It was nice. It's our new favorite spot out there, but it's funny. I think I was telling Jamal earlier. It's like camping it's mentally refreshing, but physically exhausting. So I am exhausted right now. So I'm going to bed as soon as we're done with this. But it was nice. Good to be back though.
Definitely. So the Trojans family weekend had the visiting Wildcats come and play 3 overtimes with a victory, 48-41. If I'm not mistaken,
43-41.
43-41. My opinion of this, and I want to ask you guys this question, and I'll ask it at the end. But my opinion of this was, I think this was the battle test that we were expecting to see. And I said it, you know, when we did the preview show, I said Arizona's going to come and play tough. They had 37 kids from Southern California who felt like they should be going to USC, and they have to prove that they should have been at USC. And you get that all the time. Like the quarterback went to Servite. Like Orange County is the mecca for USC. Like if you're a USC alumni and you make $500,000 and up, you live in Orange County, and in fact, Orange County is the only county where you can no longer register a license plate with any type of USC slogan in it because they used them all up. Right, so
wow. Where'd you learn that? That's a nice little Snapple fact.
It was a. I actually saw it on Facebook on KTLA 5 like a while back.
Love it. I love Ryan's description of Snapple fact.
Snapple
you know,
yeah.
I remember back in the day with the Snapple, you pop it open and there were some fun facts on the lid. Exactly. Oh my goodness.
Yep. So so I mean, I get it, and this was the battle test that we needed.
What do you get when you say I get it? What do you get?
I just understand. It's just the thing. Like everybody from Southern California feels like they should get a USC offer, and when those people don't get a USC, when they don't get a USC offer, and they go to a school within the conference, when they play USC, they have to show that they deserve a USC offer. This has been a thing even when I played. Like I remember we played Oregon. Mark Sanchez year, and he threw the pick when we were going down to win. And there was this dude standing outside of our locker room, and his dad was standing with him. He's like, "You didn't even offer my son, and he got a 3 sacks and this many tackles and this and that, and you guys didn't even get an offer, and he killed y'all today. Like, those are the things you have to deal with dealing with USC. And Arizona came to play. I'm not taking anything from Arizona, and we didn't take anything from Arizona in the preview. I'm not taking any. Jeff Fish is doing an excellent job. And the unfortunate part is that Arizona is probably going to make a commitment to become a basketball school, and it is what it is. But Jeff Fish is in a position where he doesn't have to leave as long as he stays competitive. And he's like Mark Stoops, right? He could just stay there for the rest of his life, win 10 games 1 year, but he could win 6, 7, 8 as long as he stays competitive. And Arizona's a competitive football team. The issue is the one thing I was worried about happened, and SC said, Caleb, go win the game for us. That can't be the recipe of a winning football program. And I've been asking for this for multiple weeks, just a complete game. And we have yet to see a complete game from the Trojans, and we did not get a complete game. But here's my question I have for you guys. And we'll go Ryan, Jamal. We'll go Ryan, Candace, and then Jamal, because I'm pretty sure we're going to get the most educated thesis from Jamal when I ask this question. So here's the question I have. If SC played, and I asked this question yesterday, Ryan. So I want to see what Jamal and Candace thinks. If SC plays like they're supposed to, the prior 5 games, they play up to standard, they do everything they're supposed to do, they play complete games, they show up, they beat teams by 40 and 50 points. They play this game against Arizona, and it goes into 3 overtimes. Do we accept and just say, you know what, it's just one of those games where it's just hard fought and things just didn't go their way? Or are we still, because of the past performance of SC, we're not accepting of it, and we're like, this is just unacceptable, and we're getting the same thing? In fact, I'm going to go with Candace and then Jamal, Ryan, and then you could just rebut on what you said yesterday. You good with that?
Yeah, because we talked about it on the live yesterday.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Okay, so Candace, to my question, if SC performs like they were supposed to the prior 5 games, and then the game from Saturday, they show up and just things weren't clicking, would you just be like, you know what, we made it out and we got battle tested? Or are you like, they haven't been performing up to par, this is just typical SC?
This might be typical SC to some people, but it's not typical SC to me at all. So when you say the standard and you say there's a complete, like, I don't feel like there's a complete standard that's even been set, right? So, like, I feel like there's 2 different teams. There's truly an offense and a defense. So when you say they play up to the standard, what you mean? I
just mean they should be beating teams 42-6, 56-7, 70-0, right? That's just what I mean. Like, so I'll give you an example. Oregon struggled against Stafford at the Farm. They end up winning 42-10. Washington State struggled against Arizona. They still end up winning like 42-17 or something like that. Like, so those teams are breaking away. SC doesn't break away, and they keep the games close.
You could make it super simple. They just cover every week because the spread's always like 25, 30. They just cover every week.
Right. So if they were playing like that, will you be accepted of this game? Like, all right, they just got battle tested and things just weren't clicking, but we got out of it. Or you're at the point now to where you're like, this is just what they are.
I'm at the point where this is just what they are. The concerns that all of you guys have made, the concerns that we've all seen, it wasn't just a matter of battle test. They're in the Coliseum. That wasn't a battle test. That was like, man, like winning the war. Arizona. So I was highly surprised. I was concerned. I voiced this through text and on here. I literally thought it was a nightmare because I was dozing at 2:30 in the morning. I'm like, this is not really happening right now. I was highly surprised. I don't want to jump into it too much, but you touched on it. I just kind of felt like it was the Caleb Williams show, which is not a bad thing at all. But it just seems there was just no cohesiveness between the team at all. And that was like concerns, like bits and pieces that we had seen. So yes, I was hoping for more like the puzzle pieces to come together, and they didn't. And it's like, and then we slide in the rankings. So it's just like, is everybody seeing the same thing? Everybody loves USC. And I say that lightly to be like, if you're not a USC fan and they're not playing against your favorite team, you want to see USC win. But I'm not. I went to football practice today and people had a lot of opinions about the shirt I had on.
Jamal, what do you think?
Fred, I love the question. I think it was just such a brilliant question in terms of how you framed it, because
You said you're brilliant.
yeah, no, it was a brilliant question. It really was, Fred,
that
because it's so fascinating what our reaction would be. I think if SC covered and looked good and looked dominant, looked comprehensive over the first 5 games, we'd probably be patting them on the back today and saying, man, what a great performance that was when they didn't have their fastball. They had their C-plus game against a team with a chip on their shoulder and a great coach in Jetfish and a great recruiter in Jetfish and all of these things. And they played an A-plus game, and USC played a C-plus game, and USC found a way to win. And that's what championship teams do. They find ways to win when the fastball isn't there. So I think the narrative today and going into the week would be a lot of patting them on the back for having things like grit and determination and being tough and not really needing to always have the game look pretty and rolling up their sleeves and winning a difficult game when it's challenging. The problem is that that's not the reality we live in, because this is now a systemic problem with USC over 6 games. This is the first 4 games, like we talked about, against very subpar competition. And now the last 2 games having been outgained both games, having lost the time of possession both games, having gotten fewer first downs than their opponent both games. They have statistically gotten completely outplayed over the last 2 games. So when you put that whole body of work together and you see this performance, it's no longer an outlier type of situation where this is actually a dominant team that happened to just not be dominant on one night. This is more a conversation right now. This team is just not that good. They're just who they are, and they're going to go as far as Caleb Williams' greatness takes them. And once they hit the wall, they're going to hit the wall, and we just have to sort of accept that.
Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think I need to add too much, because I agree with both Candace and Jamal, and you and I talked about it yesterday. The only thing I'll add, and this is what I said on the live, is if Caleb Williams plays like Caleb Williams is capable of, which he had an off night, especially in the first half. I mean, they go down 17-0. They go 3 and out the first 3 possessions. I mean, we've never seen the USC offense do that since Lincoln Riley's been here. So, and then they were still able to win the game. But if Caleb Williams plays like Caleb Williams, I truly believe they can beat any team in America. That being said, we've now seen that they can lose to any team in America, because they don't have a backbone to stand on defense. When you need a critical stop, you think it's going to get done. I mean, the 3rd down conversions were unreal, what Arizona was able to do. And even on offense, because they didn't have their fastball, I say bailed out lightly because it was lack of discipline on Arizona's part, but they got bailed out by a lot of critical penalties that were able to keep the offensive drive going. So I still think this team can beat anyone, just because that's how good Caleb Williams is. But I truly believe they could lose to literally anyone. Like, there's no team now where I'm like, all right, yeah, they're a 30-point favorite, they're going to pull away in the second half. We've seen now that, no, it's probably going to be a ball game every single game. And obviously they're playing really good teams the next 6 weeks. So it's going to be regardless. But even a team like Cal, it's like, I don't know, are they going to blow them out? Like, they could lose to them, but they can also beat Notre Dame, Washington, Oregon. So this is who this team is. They're 6-0, which is great. We're going to probably hopefully get more positive here now, but they're a 6-0 team that's just not a dominant 6-0 team.
Yeah. So,
Al, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, just hold on to your question. I just want to make a statement
before you dig too deep into the.
So I will say this, and maybe I'm just an outlier on this. I just think it was just a bad day, right? Oof. And I know the season hasn't been what we've been expecting, and we've been seeing a lot of. But yesterday was just truly a bad day. And when I say a bad day, I say a bad day as in the offense wasn't clicking, right? The defense was really not clicking, and the special teams had mistakes. Like, all 3 phases of the game were not on point, right? And we came out with the win because I truly believe this, and Coach Guerrero taught us this: better teams play better for longer periods of time. But in this case, one player played better than the rest of the team for a longer period of time. The difference between Arizona and USC is that Jetfish made them tough, but USC is more athletic. It's the same thing with Kentucky. Kentucky was tough, but they don't have the athletes to beat an elite team. They didn't have the guys to beat USC, right? And football, this happens. So I know we're looking at past performance and things like that, but in my opinion, it was just a bad day. And I think this was like truly the test. Like, can they withstand and do they have the grit to get through something like this? And they did. Like, this isn't your normal, they're coming back to win in the fourth quarter and they pull it out. They had to play extra football, and they, you know what I mean? Like, they ran out of time and they had to legit say, all right, it's time to toughen up and make this happen. This might be the switch that flips it and be like, look, we can't play around with anybody anymore, and we need to be who we're supposed to be. And that's what I'm hoping. But I'm kind of taking this as like, this, it just happens, right? And unfortunately, like I said before, like, we had so many of the times where they should have been a blowout, and then like Colorado, they let them come back. We struggled with other teams and things like that, but Arizona State, but I just think that it was a bad day, and we're so used to not covering the spread or not playing like we want them to play that when they have a bad day, we think it's normal. That wasn't a normal performance by SC or SC's offense in any case. So I think this is the one where you really have to be like, all right, you guys, it's time to really get it together. Like, let's go. No more playing around. Like, we got it out of our system. We got to get through this grinder and get through it. So all in all, I'm not disappointed with this performance. I think they were truly tested this week, and I think they passed the test, in my opinion. But you don't have to agree with me. But I just looking at them, like, they truly got tested this week and they got through the test, and I'm proud of them because they did stand tough, right? They could have easily folded their heads after that kick got botched, and they could have lost that game. But they held to their guns, and they got out of it. And that happens sometimes. I just wish that their prior performances were way better. So, like Jamal said, the narrative could be way better. We could be talking about, all right, this team is ready to win a national championship. They could withstand anything. So, yeah. Candace, you ready for your question?
And Candace, I'd love to go after you.
So, to touch back on that, they're consistently being not good at the things that they're consistently being not good at. So when we say, oh, it's a bad day, it's not a bad day. The things that they weren't good at, they were really not good at, like really not good at. And then Caleb, like, yeah, he's incredible, but he's doing the same consistency every week. So when we say the bad day, like, I can't accept it. I can't. But
Caleb was really bad. Caleb was like, what, Ryan? Like, he didn't have
100 yards till 2 minutes left in the third quarter.
Yeah, he only had one passing touchdown. Like, Caleb was not Caleb. But Caleb put on a Heisman performance by scoring 3 rushing touchdowns. So a bad day for Caleb is still 4 touchdowns, but Caleb wasn't Caleb on Saturday.
I mean, maybe not. I mean, USC's team is magical if they match Caleb Williams' level of athleticism, bottom line. But that wasn't even what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask Jamal and Ryan, and Ro might know this. What do you say the percentages of transfers are on that active roster?
For SC?
Yeah. You said there was like
Probably
22 guys, right?
40%, I would say.
Yeah, it's really high.
So this is where I'm going with this. Stay with me. There has always been a level of standard at USC. And like you said, there's guys that came with a chip on their shoulder that thought they should be going to USC. USC was, when I was there, was like, we were the fastest track team. We were Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, that level. Like, we talk about it all the time. The backups to Reggie, the backups to Matt would be starters anywhere. These kids that are transfers, SC was not, let's make it clear, USC was not choosing them first. So my thoughts
of but Bear Alexander went to Georgia, and they're a 2-time national champion.
I mean, the point that I'm making is, is that there's this implant of Riley, and there's this implants that are now at USC that, to me, I still struggle with. I still grapple with that. I'm like, the standard of you, and like you say it all the time, what you have with Pete, like every recruiting, every player, everybody that was coming in, there was a certain level of standard. So now when I see these players and I don't see them gelling, I don't see them meshing, I'm wondering, like, well, yeah, maybe you think you're ready for USC, and maybe you think you're at this standard of football, but it's different. It's different than the Big 12. It's different than the ACC. It's different. You would agree with that, Al?
Yeah, it is different, but I think the landscape of college football has changed, right? And I think the transfer portal is a thing that you do need to succeed in today's game. And like I said yesterday, if it was me my first year, I will be maybe 70-30 high school recruit transfer portal. This year, I'll be 60-40 high school recruit transfer portal. The third year, which is next year, I'll be 60-40 high school recruit transfer portal. So I will be creating a culture and setting a standard to the point to where I'm 90-10 high school recruit transfer portal. And that's just me. But in today's landscape for football, the transfer portal is just, you need the transfer portal today because
but the idea of, and I mean, like you said, the landscape is now trained. We don't have to dig too deep in it. But the point that I'm making is back in the day, you were a team full of freshmen like Zachariah Branches. You weren't 3 years developed and 26 years old and then being able to be a star. Back in the day, like when I came to USC, there was 12 scholarships in the entire, 12 scholarships from the entire nation they had to pull. So when I think of, there was 55 scholarships and everyone had, Clay Matthews was a walk-on, right? So now the idea of that these guys are 2 and 3 years into college, they're now developed and they have to transfer into USC. USC didn't want them 2 and 3 years ago. Fair to say?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well,
Maybe,
I'm just saying.
I don't know.
Candace, I'd love to jump in here.
Yeah.
I think it's Candace's turn to have a brilliant answer. Fred asked a brilliant question earlier. I think Candace's answer was brilliant. And I think it's interesting, Candace, that you mentioned this because I've talked to some other people who kind of feel similar to you in that regard, where the transfer portal, I'll give an example here with the 2 schools in LA. So if you look at UCLA in terms of the transfer portal, they are now having access to players that they were not able to get 2 and 3 years ago. So they're able to kind of level up. On USC side, they are now having access to player that they did not want 2 and 3 years ago. And so potentially you could be leveling down. And that is actually what's creating a little bit more parity in college football with the transfer portal. That's what Matt Leinart was saying the last couple of days on social media and on Fox about how the transfer portal has enabled more parity in this game. So I see both sides of it. And I think what Candace's point is saying is it's not just talent, but there's also an element of chemistry. When everyone is kind of a one-year rental, when everybody is LeBron in Miami, you've got 12 LeBrons in Miami, then when the going gets tough, do those values, does that culture, does that chemistry enable you to push over the line? And I think that's the question that we're going to see unfold here with the Lincoln Riley era moving forward.
We're seeing it unfold. I'm watching the game with my husband, who was an all-star college player, an all-star high school player, and a first pick of the second round. I'm like, why are they missing tackles? That's peewee. I don't have to draw fancy defenses to say, why are we missing tackles? So the chemistry of, you pull a guy from Oklahoma, you pull a guy from everyone's different defensive scheme, and then we put him out there and say, all you're supposed to do is tackle, and we can't even tackle right. So that's where I'm saying that the chemistry, I didn't play football. I didn't do X's and O's, but I can look enough to analyze and say, what's going on? Like, we're talking about tackles?
I also think, Candace, that I think they're missing tackles, and I could be wrong.
That was just one example. But.
No, I know, but I think they're missing tackles because they're in such a complex defense that they're constantly thinking. So when it comes down to doing the basic stuff, they're struggling there too because they're like, should I be here? They still are struggling to line up. You know what I mean? Like that means if you're struggling to line up and ask your husband, that means it's too complex. You need to dumb it down somewhere. You know what I mean? Like if you're struggling to line up, that means you have way too much going on. And somewhere, someplace, you need to just dumb it down. Like, look, you line up here. This is the only place you line up. They're overthinking sometimes. And Jamal, correct me if I'm wrong. You're the mad scientist. But sometimes overthinking can cause you to even malfunction on the basic skills.
Oh, for sure.
You know
Overthinking
what I mean?
is the cause of stress, hair loss, all of it, So,
Ryan, are you overthinking a lot?
I guess.
We've got some real thinkers on the show, okay?
So like that's just I think that the missed tackles just go to overthinking because they're getting rallying to the ball so late sometimes that I think it's just like it's just a fact of overthought. Jamal, what were you going to wait, Jamal, before we hold on to your answer to rebuttal mine, before we go, I just want to let you guys know that it's baseball playoffs. NBA is starting. NHL is starting their season on Tuesday. We got college football. we're in the thick of Formula One also. And if you want to get some money on all that and get all the latest lines and great deals, go to betonline.ag. BetOnline.ag is the best place to go to get in on all the sports, even if you want to do a multi-sport parlay. BetOnline.ag has that for you. Go to betonline.ag and put in promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV, and we will give you a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, Jamal, what is your rebuttal?
Yeah, so Fred, I really appreciate what you're saying.
Hold on,
about...
Jamal, before you do it, just take it easy on me, because I told you before we started you're going to rip
very
into
easy.
me.
It's very easy. I really appreciate what you're saying here, Fred, but I respectfully disagree, and here's why. Fred, you remember when you were talking about, the SC kind of passing the test, this Saturday night, and, they made it happen and it was a war. You remember that movie Billy Madison that Sandler was in? And remember when he was a grown man and he passed the test every grade and they threw a big party for him, in his father's mansion? Like, he's a grown man and he passed like the 4th grade and then they throw a huge party for him. Like, that's what this kind of reminds me of. Is the USC is Billy Madison. Arizona was the 4th grade, and you're Billy Madison's dad, throwing a huge party for him. So, that's the equivalent of the test there, because at the end of the day, I think Arizona played phenomenally. This is still a 6-7 win team at the end of the day if all falls right for them. So this really shouldn't be a situation. But what I'll say, Fred, is this was a tale of 3 games. There was the first game where SC fell behind 17-0. And it really was a factor of Arizona rushing 3, dropping 8. And I think Caleb had an off game, no question about it. But I think there was a little bit of stubbornness on Lincoln Riley's part to keep forcing the ball down the field through the air with 8 guys back there. And then I think the second phase of the game, look, people forget the second phase of the game, SC outscored Arizona 28-3. Now, they started running the ball. They started respecting, the dropping of the 8. And it was a situation where Arizona was sort of shooting themselves in the foot. And then, of course, there was the third chapter of the game where it was 28-20. You thought SC was going to be able to salt this away. Arizona gets the touchdown, gets the 2, and then all hell kind of breaks loose the final 5 minutes of fourth quarter and overtime. So for me, Fred, if this was truly an elite team where they just didn't have their fastball and they were able to overcome it, you fall behind 17-0, and then you finish the game strong. The fact that we had that third piece where even after 28-20, they let Arizona back in the game and with an opportunity to win, that is the deeper concern to me. If there was a switch, that switch should have come on at 17-0 and never gone back off. The fact that the switch went back off at 28-20 tells me they're not really paying their electric bill. They don't have the money for their electric bill. And so that's the problem here moving forward with this team, because let's be honest here, Fred, the whole stadium, I was there when they got that first hit to Jacob Cowing and it became 35-34, the whole stadium thought they were going to go for 2. I don't know why they didn't go for 2. If they went for 2, they probably would have gotten it and won this ball game. And if you recall in sort of the pregame, Fred, remember the one thing I said where we would see some improvement would be if McMillan and Cowing both were under 100 yards, if you recall. Look at what Cowing did. 150-plus yards, 4 touchdowns.
I thought about that the whole
just
time.
A glaring situation there. So that's where I would respectfully disagree with you as to why I'm not a believer in this team just yet.
Okay, I got you, definitely. So I'm going to throw a pop quiz on you guys, and we'll start with Ryan. And Ryan, I'm just giving you a break because you went camping. I know you're a little bit exhausted. But we're 6-0. We're halfway.
You're making me go first?
Yeah, this is
That's my
easy.
break, because I have to go first?
Well, we've been just hanging out, and here just drinking a cocktail. You're in the corner just exerting. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we're halfway through. It's time for midterm grades. Got 6 games left, halfway through. Ryan, what is your grade for SC right now? Pop quiz. Y'all didn't know this is coming. I did, but y'all didn't know.
I don't want to be too overly critical. I'll go C+, and that's probably generous. But you're 6-0, so 6-0. You're still ranked 10 in the country. You got the best player in America at quarterback. So they could be a lot better. Obviously, we don't need to keep pounding the same thing, but I'll go C+.
Let's see here. I'll go with Jamal.
I think that's a very fair assessment. If I were to break it down, Fred, I would say offense A+, I would say defense D, and I would say special teams F. So, and then when you sort of, make the weighted average there, it probably nets out to about a C+. So I agree with Ryan.
So you said offense A, so that's 4.
Offense A+. Defense D.
So that's 1. So that's 5.
And special teams F.
F. So. Oh, that's a C. So when you divide it, yep.
There you go.
Candace, go ahead.
My initial thought straight in my mind was like C+, which seemed kind of generous, but
That shows the expectations when you're 6-0 and you get a round of C+.
Guys, come on, man. They're 6-0. Like, what's wrong with you guys? They're 6-0.
Right, but I wanted
to in the nation. This is an A+. Yeah,
you got to stay top 10. Like, we're slipping and holding on to 10. Like, let's just go there with it. But Jamal, your analogy was great. Like, I was just disappointed because there was this expectation at SC, like when you score a touchdown, and not that I'm using an analogy, like act like you've been there. And the amount of roar on the sidelines was like we had beat our crosstown rival. It wasn't like, all right, cool. What, snap and clear on to next week. It just seemed like there was just so much like, yeah. And it was kind of like, really? And that was surprising to me as well. I was just like, I know this has nothing to do with X's and O's, but that's that implanted USC culture that would never have happened in my mind with the Orgerons, the Sarkeesians, like the Kiffin. That would never have happened. There would have never been more celebrating because we beat Arizona. Those implants that are bringing themselves into USC, they're not true USC culture. Neither is their AD. So she's the top of the totem pole.
Go watch the Cal game when they went into 2 overtimes and they won by a field goal with Matt Leinart and Reggie Bush and all those people. It was the exact same celebration. And Cal wasn't even ranked when they played.
Yeah, I mean, but
when Sean Cody got the block, like, I mean,
I kind of thought that might have been there. But I'm just saying, like, to me, I don't overanalyze a game, very differently than you guys. I see athletes, I see performance, I see grit, I see grind, but I have been saying this from the beginning, like USC's level of excellence, the experience, and I'm here in Ann Arbor and I've been to multiple different colleges and universities. It's just not the same. These people that are okay, these are these implants, and that's the standard of it. And that's that's just the reality of what, like Jamal says, it is what it is. And that frustrates me because me at USC, if we barely beat the Bruins or something, like, we're like, yeah, we're not talking about that. If we're not shutting them out, there's no conversation. And it just seemed different. So you're right. I think everyone else like, we were battle tested by who? Who were you battle tested by?
I mean, it happens.
It happens. That's not even invited to another conference.
I hear they are invited, but so this is they're in the Big 12.
Jamal made a great Billy Madison reference, and so I'm going to reference another great movie, Anchorman, with Will Ferrell and Candace. In that movie, he says, "The times they are a changing." So no longer is this isn't a Pete Carroll era anymore. I mean, it's just the way it is. It's a new era. After 15 years of mediocrity, I think yes, this is a C+ team, but hey, we'll take 6-0 because 2 years back to back 6-0. It wasn't like that for the last 15 years.
So this is to me. I give them.
But right, it was.
Hold on, wait. Let me get my grades.
Okay.
This to me. I mean, they're 6-0. They're number 10 team in the nation. This is an A+ team. Any team that's 6-0. No, I'm joking with you guys.
I'm joking. Ryan, cut the lights, Ryan.
I was just gonna say. I mean, look, this team was 6-0 in 2012 when they were the number 1 team in the country, unfinished business, and they finished 7-6 that year. This team was 6-0 with Darnold, and they had 3 losses and got beat down by Ohio State in the bowl game. So it's not like, Ryan, this team has never been 6-0 since Pete Carroll. This team has been 5-0, 6-0, 6-1 a lot, and it's been just the difference between now and then is just their ability to finish. So, for those that have kind of been around the block a few times, we've sort of seen this narrative play out a little bit, and I think they just need to do more.
So my grade, honestly, is I give them a D. And I'll tell you why. The biggest reason why I give them a D is because the culture is bad, and they keep saying this every week. And this was the week that it finally just struck my nerve. They're happy with saying a win is a win. And they're happy with saying as the game goes on, we get stronger. And that's not true. If you're going to live by that, then you're definitely contradicting yourself. You're contradicting yourself because you're saying, and that is a culture problem. You're saying that, oh, as long as we win and we're good. And you're saying, but if you keep playing us, we're going to get stronger. That's two opposite things. If you're going to go by a win is a win and we're going to score more than you, that's fine, and we'll accept that. If these games are going to be close, it is what it is, and we'll take that. But if you're going to say as the game goes on, we're going to get stronger, as we get deeper into the quarters, you should be running away and you should look strong. You're not looking stronger in the late quarters. So if that is the model and that is the mantra of your team, you have not lived up to that expectation as of late, and you are not performing at average or above average. You're below average, and that's why I'm giving this team a D.
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yep. So,
you know what was funny at the start of the show for our viewers? Fred was the one who said, "Let's keep it positive." You know, so
I am being. I mean, you know, am I being? Was that negative? If it was negative, I totally apologize. I'm just being honest. Like, you're saying that your motto is as the game goes on, we get stronger. But as the game's been going on, you haven't been getting stronger. So if you live up to that motto, then if that's your motto of your team, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. And so that's a D. So definitely, I mean, I guess I get, I mean,
and I wait, Al, before you, I don't want to touch on it too much, but when I think of like a Zachariah Branch, I think of like, that is a true SC guy. That's a true SC guy, a huge, big 5-star recruit. That's what when I saw the game, I did not see that same consistency among all the athletes.
I got you.
Yeah, and they're clearly missing him.
Yeah, they're clearly missing him.
Clearly need him back.
Hopefully he gets healthy. Just want to let you guys know that Salute to Troy is brought to you by Stone Brewery. Go to your local vendor, retailer, and get you a Fight On Pale Ale today. That's Stone Brewery. Fight On Pale Ale. Fight on. Hey, so let's move forward. We got Notre Dame coming up this week. We'll talk about it later in the week.
Coach, real quick, can I ask one like random question?
Yeah, you can ask whatever you like.
What you guys think of? What'd you guys think of? Yeah, I know. As I'm rubbing my shiny ass head, what'd you guys think of the new overtime rules?
I love it.
The first season with the new rules, having have to do 2 points in the second round, and then it goes straight to just 2 points.
I love it. I love it. I love every bit of it. That's so exciting. I love it. I loved it. I don't know.
It was fascinating how many media members in the press box had no idea what the F was going on. Like, everyone's like, why are they not kicking the extra point in the second overtime? And it's like, well, they're the new rules. You have to go for 2.
Yeah, I love the 2-point conversion. That right there elevates the excitement of the game, because you're like, all right, so what are they going to do? I will tell you this: if Jeff Fish runs toss the other way, we're going into 4 for sure. He runs toss to the field, we're going to the 4th overtime. We got so lucky. I think he just got excited. It was like, just run toss, and then, man, it's just the other way. Hey, so Notre Dame coming up this week. What would you guys like to see improved from the Arizona game? I'll go with you first, Candace.
Dominance. I want to see some dominance. I want to see, I just want to see them dominate. I don't need fancy and shiny. I want dominance. I want consistency. I want Caleb to be able to have a rhythm that it's not, he's a mega star. You can't dim that light, but just some support. I don't want to dive too deep again with the O-line, but it wasn't just that they weren't good. Jamal talked about it, like the grit, Caleb pushing his whole body through to get a touchdown. I just saw his guys kind of wandering when Caleb's scrambling all over. And I'm like, you see how Tom Brady used to talk to his guys, his offensive line, like the protection of thinking, like, if Caleb jams a pinky, it just didn't have that same. So I want that offensive line to protect him like he's Tom Brady. I want them to have that level of buy-in. I feel like even when I saw Caleb, I don't know him. I know his dad a little bit from.
You guys are friends. You guys are great friends. Come on now.
I felt, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. You guys were there, but athlete to athlete, just a little bit of disconnect with his team in the sense that he has it on his back, but there's no real celebration because he's predictable, but everything else isn't. And I feel like with a player like that, he deserves consistency. He deserves to know we're not gonna be sitting on the sideline for 3 and 4 possessions while our defense can't do anything. You know what I mean? So I guess dominance, protecting Caleb, and consistency.
To your point on that, I think they just know Caleb is going to do that. I think they're like,
Maybe,
we don't have to worry about it. Caleb's going to do it. And that they got to remember, this is just our opinion, but I think they're like, we have Caleb. We should be okay. I think that's legit a thought in that locker room. I think
that's that culture. That's that culture, because as they're blitzing and coming with everything they got, the offensive line are kind of just like dangling around. I'm like, bro, take his head off. Like, he's coming for the Caleb Williams, the guy that can potentially change your draft pick if you block for him. And they're just kind of like, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So unless it's scripted that they're not supposed to block so he can run around there and look theatrical, it's not the NFL, it's college football.
It's the script.
It's the script. Ryan, what would you like to see? What improvements you would like to see?
Yeah, we'll get into it obviously more later in the week, but simply put, just consistency all around, offensively and defensively. I know we've obviously every week, as we should, hammer the defense, but there was times when they, Kalen Bullock shot out of a cannon to knock that 2-point conversion away. Obviously, at the end of the game, Mason Cobb reads it perfectly, that toss play for the big tackle. There were moments where you see these guys step up and it looks like a productive defensive unit. And then obviously there's moments where there's just incompetence, 17 missed tackles again. So just consistency, because if they can do it, drive in and drive out, that's why I said I think they can beat anybody. But because they're so inconsistent, that's why they can lose to anybody. Yeah. So it's an consistent game. We'll see, Alfred, if we get all 4 quarters. I don't know if we'll get there yet, but hey, if we can get closer to consistency, maybe we'll get closer there.
Jamal, 14 pages, Times New Roman, 12-point font, single space.
No, sir. I'm going to save the Times New Roman 14 for our preview on Thursday.
If I had 14 font in high school, I would have had a lot longer essays. So that was nice of you to give me 14 font. Yeah.
Well, it's not.
Listen, the key to sort of extending length, everyone knows this, from high school, is you got to go New Courier. Or you got to go Helvetica. Okay, that's where the game is won. Okay,
no,
do you know Times New Roman?
No Times New Roman. No Times.
Do you know the real? Do you know the real secret that I used to do?
Take the margins away.
Not even the margins. If you just increase the size of the periods, it enhances.
Oh yeah.
No.
Like if the whole essay is size 12 and you put the periods to size like 18, it's not noticeable enough. But it like, oh yeah.
Yeah, it gives you like 4 extra pages.
Yeah, because it'll change the line difference, right? Because even if one character is a bigger font, it drops the whole next line lower, right?
Oh yeah,
I learned that at SC.
Long Beach State, baby. Come on, let's go Beach.
Hey, I learned that at SC, and not only that, my learning specialist taught me that. She was like, "You're like 4 pages short." Yeah, she's like, "Watch, I'll fix this for you." And she's like, "Find all your periods," and she's like, "Hit Control F." Just put the period, and then she went to some edit thing, and she put them all at like 18, and my shit just shot to like 6 pages. I was like, "Oh, okay, all right."
There you go.
Shout out to SAS.
SAS. Oh man, maybe SAS can come and coach the defense with that ingenuity. That would be amazing. No, I'll save Fred kind of the analysis for Thursday. But the one thing I'll say, kind of qualitatively, I had a really good friend at the game as well, and saw him afterwards, and he said, that game kind of felt like an old school Laker game where in crunch time, the Lakers just kind of gave the ball to Kobe and got out of the way. And how fitting was that on that last play that they literally moved the whole line to the left. And they basically just said, Caleb, one side of the field. I mean, it felt like an NBA game. It was an absolute ISO for your best player to go win the game. It was the most NBA ending I've ever seen in an NFL or college game ever. So I'll just kind of leave it at that.
All right. So what I would like to see improved, and we're going to go to the Prize Picks whiteboard. So let me know. Let's see when this pops up. Here is that 2-point
here we go
conversion
with the
play.
Times New Roman 14 font, 8 pages. Okay.
So here we go. This is the play where they scored the touchdown, right? And so you see that they have it here, and this is Shane Lee. This is Mason Cobb, Kalen Bullock. This is DB. I don't know who 16 is. I don't know who 22 is. and this is the safety that spoke in Colorado. Who's the safety that spoke in Colorado? He was upset, Ryan. Bryson Shaw, right? So the issue here is that they're so hard on taking away the inside, right? So let's just say they brought the back. And we'll say they took this guy and they brought him back and made him the back, right? All that does is move this guy back here. If they run play action and go back across this way, then you have nobody in the flats because this guy ran the pivot out. So if he would have ran slant, he runs slant, and this guy play action goes to the flat wide open. So there you go, Jamal's scheme problem, right? So how do you fix it, right? We always talk about how we fix it. So this is how USC lined up. And like I said, if we were to take this guy and we put him here, right, and we take him and we run him to the flats, these guys are playing. And here's the issue, too. They were playing flat out zero. They were in man coverage. You have a man for a man. That guy goes to the flats, you take it. So how do you fix it, right? No matter what you do, let's say they're an empty or whatever. You run a play that's called fence. And just for this system, right, we don't have it. So we're going to say this is the end zone. The what is
45?
That? Yeah, but it's 10 yards. That's so it's 40? Kind of throwing me off. Yeah, 40 is the back of the zone. Okay. All right. So if we're saying this is the end zone, right? And this is a play you can run 5 yards and in. You run a play that's called fence. And all you do is you line up a fence. You take these guys, you tell them heels on the end zone, heels on the end zone. I'm going to take this guy here because we have more receivers here. Heels in the end zone, heels in the end zone, heels in the end zone. And we'll just do like I normally do. We'll go 3 to the strength. We'll go here. This guy's a stand-up guy, so we want to put him here and hope he doesn't get cracked. You got a 3 and a 5 to the weak side, right? So fence is the simplest. And when I first learned this defense, I fought it by the guy who taught me this until I actually saw it run, and it works every single time. Fence is the simplest rules. If you get any inside route, you catch, carry, and deliver. And what do I mean by catch, carry, and deliver, right? So catch, carry means if the guy runs at me, I catch him. If he goes inside, I carry him, and I deliver him to the next man inside of me, right? So these two guys, well, we'll start over here. These guys on that play, they all ran slants. I catch, carry, and deliver. I catch, carry, deliver, catch, carry, deliver, right? So this guy will deliver him to the rover. This guy, the rover, would then deliver it to the strong safety. Strong safety now delivers it to the linebacker, which is Mason Cobb, right? Over here, you want to catch, carry, and deliver. This guy ran slant, right? If I'm not mistaken, he either ran slant or he ran a go. He ran a go, that's right. So now, here you go. You get anything vertical, you have to carry it. Boom. But this guy now becomes the end man, which makes him the end guy on the line of scrimmage. If I get any inside route, and this is where it changes, and this is where you get protected, I catch, carry, and deliver. The only way I deliver him is if I legit see the man. So as I catch him and I'm carrying him, I have to see my next guy. So if I see my next guy that's on the team, I could go and give it to him because I know this guy is coming to me, right? So he ran a pivot. He pretty much just juked his ass out of his shoes because his eyes were terrible, but that's another incident. So he comes to him. I catch him. He runs the out route. I now go with him because these two are now eliminated, and this guy becomes the last guy on the line of scrimmage. So how does this help you, right? So let's just say this guy comes back here, right? He comes back here, and this guy runs anything to the flat, right? So he goes to the flat. Now I get one guy that comes over with me because I know where the next threat is. I have the numbers. I have 3 guys on 2, right? If you want to count this guy, I have 4 on 3. Now I need to make sure I have one more guy that's going to come over here at the snap of the ball so I can at least get 3 on 3. Right now I have 2 on 2 if I get 3 on 3. So if this guy runs it out and he runs the flat, I'm now over here because I have the flats and the flats are protected, right? Fence defense, very simple, right? So then we go back and you go to the 2-point conversion. And they switch up the formation on them, right? They go what I call this tray Y off. It's multiple people call it different things. Normally a tray is a tight end with 2 receivers, right? So I would call this strong gun tray Y off. If the tight end was on, I'll call it strong gun tray. If he's over here, it will be weak gun tray or Trey Y off. Neither here nor there, just little tip. So we move it to Trey Y off. We put our guy here. We go here for Trey Y off. Now we have the back in the backfield. Was it weak or strong? Let me check real quick.
Strong.
Oh, strong. He ran 4 to a side. That's tricky. 4 to a side gets interesting. Okay, so you run Trey Y off.
How much do you love doing this, Alfred?
I love this. I love talking ball.
He loves it. He loves it. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
So we go Trey Y off, right? Nothing changes for us in fence. The only thing is we have to alert this guy and say, hey, you might have one more, so you have to protect the middle. When you count the numbers don't change. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 4 to a side. This guy has the same rules. I catch, carry, and deliver. Anything goes inside. I give the in call. Remember, always give an in call so he knows that it's coming in. Catch, carry, and deliver. So I get any type of out route. This was a one-on-one route, and they're running man coverage down on the goal line. That's something I just don't believe in because of the reason you get beat, right? So they run the exact same route. They're like, they're going to give us 0 again. We're going to take it. Hills on the sideline. This guy runs out. Simple. I take it. I'm the flat player in man on the line of scrimmage. Not only that, I have an extra guy here. So if nothing comes, right, let's just say they go flats out there, right? So here's the deal. So this guy runs a pivot, right? So I catch, carry, and deliver, but I have to remember I am still the in man on the line of scrimmage. So once I deliver it, I have a responsibility, right? So he runs a pivot. I'm still here, right? So catch, carry, deliver is, in this situation, I know I have help to the inside. And a lot of people say, and this is where I argue with the guy who taught me this, like, we got to take away the inside. We got to take away the inside. And he always said, no, we don't, because we have somebody on the inside. That gap is not there, right? Because our initial first movement for these guys is to protect the outside. So if everybody protects the outside, he instantly takes a step into the slant window, right? Because he's like, oh, where's the next thing coming? And that's the way it's taught. So he runs the pivot out. He catches it. And then as soon as he delivers it, he's still right there. So as he runs the pivot, it'll run right into him. He doesn't have to chase it like he was chasing it. So the problem was he was in man and he was chasing it, and then he ended up over pursuing it, and then you get the pivot out. If I'm delivering it and he runs the pivot out, he runs right into me. Not only that, if it's done right, he ends up in the right situation, it turns into a pick six, and they would have won the game right then and there. So those are the things that I think they could fix. That was your Prize Picks X's and O's for Salute Your Chart this week. So just a little numbers thing. Like, they still have numbers and issues. So if you go to Prize Picks, download the app or go on the website, you get a match bonus up to $100. Put in promo code USC LAFB, and you get up to $100 match. Prize Picks, where fantasy begins. All right. So those are things I want to fix. I like talking football. We should just get like we should get an LAF. Can I get it, Ryan? Can I get an LAFB like X's and O's show? I just have to get access to the film. I could just be on here for 3 hours.
100%.
That's not what this show is.
Definitely. No, but so just the numbers, man. And like I said, I just want to see a complete game. And I'm probably going to say that when we record earlier in the week. I just want to see a complete game. A complete game Trojans is a scary team. I'll tell you that right now. You get a complete game from the Trojans, they're a scary team. So it is what it is. It is what it is. We keep moving on. We got Notre Dame next week. Trojans 6-0, undefeated. Going to South Bend. And we'll continue the good fight, guys. So hopefully we make some improvements. We got a big game coming this week. Good thing is Notre Dame lost the game. But I have some interesting facts. And Jamal, they lost 2 games. You're right. They just lost this past week. I apologize.
Yeah.
Jamal, we're going to have a fun conversation on Thursday. I just want to let you know that.
When do we not, Fred? When do we not?
Yeah.
You're sort of qualifying it like it's an exception. It's the rule.
This might be like Candace and Colorado week, because I have some interesting thoughts about Notre Dame. I'll just give everybody a prelude to what they're going to see. I never thought Notre Dame was a very good football team. I thought they were kind of blah and boring. So I'll just leave it right there. So
Can I give everyone some homework for the next episode?
What's that?
As the lone non-USC alum, since all you guys went, I want all of you to have one great USC Notre Dame story for our preview show.
So a personal story or like a game story?
I mean, if you have a personal one, that's even better.
Okay.
But if not, just a game story is fine. Just a game story. But hey, I booked my flights today. I'm going to South Bend. I'll be out there. I can't wait to experience this with the Trojan fans that travel. But I would love to hear from all of you that got to experience it while you're in school. A nice story. So there's your homework for Thursday.
Are you going to practice this week?
Yes, I will be at practice this week.
Cool. Perfect. Definitely. Well, guys, do your homework. Make sure you have it on time. Hey, Jamal, I'll be calling you. Get a couple answers.
Alfred's going to be extending the period font for this homework.
As always, it's been fun. Our Trojans are 6-0. And we'll just keep moving on. Let's just keep our chin up, and it'll get better. We're moving on, and we're going to keep going. Always remember, like our girl Candace says, if you want to save on your grocery bill, go to drinkag1.com/SaluteYourTroy, and you get 5 free travel packs and a year's worth of immunity boosts. That's drinkag1.com/SaluteYourTroy. I appreciate you guys. Thank you as always. It's always fun. We're going to South Bend. We're halfway there. We'll see you guys next time. This has been the Bet Online Salute to Troy podcast. Live free, fight on.